Question: your coworker has some pretty bad BO. How do you politely go about dealing with it? Do you A. approach them in private, discreetly mentioning the issue? B. pin them down and spray them with air freshener? C. pretend that the issue doesn't exist until you eventually crack from the sheer trauma of the smell, which forces you to then isolate in an abandoned lighthouse off the shores of the Orkney Isles? Or D. kick them out of your restaurant and have them build and work in a brand new kitchen of their own? The answer, of course, is D. Well, D if you're a MineColonies NPC, that is. You may be a horrible person if you do that in real life, or most of the other answers for that matter. Introducing the Cookery Build, a new building for your colony exclusively for the restaurant's ex-assistant cooks to use and prepare delicious meals within. Alongside the cookery comes a whole host of new food recipes for your idiots to enjoy and several new crops for your farmers to grow to make those new recipes. This is a fairly substantial update to MineColonies, so let's check it out. The Cookery is a new building primarily used by the restaurant's ex-assistant cooks, who now have the job description of Chef of the Cookery. These new chefs basically have the same function as assistant cooks from older MineColonies versions. They prepare meals for your citizens to eat. Previously, the assistant cook worked alongside the head chef within the restaurant. Their job was to prepare meals for hungry citizens, then give the completed meals to the head chef, who would in turn then give those meals to the hungry citizens sat within the restaurant. Their new job is exactly the same, except they now have their own space within their own separate cookery build. They still prepare meals for hungry citizens and have those completed meals delivered to the restaurant for the head chef to then dish out. Citizens cannot eat at the cookery, only at the restaurant, so you will need both buildings to ensure that you can sate your idiots' hunger. The cookery build can be crafted by using one smoker alongside 7 planks of any type and a build tool. Right-clicking the block into the air will generate a list of all of the possible building styles that the building can have. In most styles, the cookery can be found within the luxury menu of the build tool. Once constructed, a chef will be assigned to the build if it has been set to automatic hiring. There are over 20 new food items added to the cookery with this update. I won't begin to name all of them, simply because I can't pronounce half of them, but you can see a list of these new food items on screen now. Most of these recipes are crafted by using vanilla ingredients alongside new MineColonies specific ingredients, which we'll come on to in just a moment. Some of the recipes also require an additional baked ingredient, which can only be crafted by the bakery build. The recipes for these new baked items are automatically taught to the bakery once it's been constructed. Here's a short list of these new baked items. To create these new recipes, an additional 10 new crops have also been added to the mod, which you can see a list of here. You and your colony's farmers can grow all of these new crops, but one interesting thing to note about them is that some of them can only be grown in specific biomes. Durum wheat, eggplant, garlic and onions are hardy crops and can be planted in pretty much any biome. Bell peppers and tomatoes can only be grown in temperate biomes. Temperate biomes are biomes with mild and moderate temperatures, such as plains and meadows. Chickpeas can only be grown in hot and dry biomes, such as deserts. Rice and soybeans can only be grown in hot and humid biomes, such as jungles. And cabbages can be grown in cold biomes. And if you didn't think that was annoying enough, then you'll also be pleased to know that these crops can only be grown on a new type of farmland added as well. Tilled soil. Tilled soil can only be created by your farmers, and they will only make it whenever they go to plant one of these new crops within a field. Normal crops cannot be planted in tilled soil, only these new crops can. On that same note, the new crops cannot be planted in normal farmland either. They can only be planted in tilled soil. Your farmer will plant and harvest these crops just as they would with any other crop. They will need to be supplied with the crop seeds as well as be set a field to grow them in. Within the field's interface, you will be able to select a crop seed to plant. Depending on the biome that you're in, only some of these new crops will be available within the list. So, for example, if you're in a temperate biome, say a plains biome, then you won't see cabbages or rice in the field list, as those crops cannot be grown in that biome. Any crop that can be grown within the biome will be available within the list to select from. You can also plant these new crops yourself should you wish. You'll just need to use the tilled soil that the farmer has already created. But you cannot plant crops which are not suitable for the current biome, as your character will just simply try to consume them rather than plant them. Even if you plant the crops creatively, if they're in the wrong biome, they'll just simply break. The new crops are primarily dropped from breaking different wild vegetation within different biomes. I've done quite a bit of testing to see the best way of collecting these new crops, and it seems that breaking grass, ferns, dead bushes and sugarcane in different biomes was the best method. I created a 20 by 20 block testing area in 4 different biomes. I covered each testing area with one of the 4 types of vegetation, then proceeded to break each block and collect the resultant drops from them. I found that breaking grass in different biomes pretty much dropped every new crop type with the exception of cabbages and rice. I found that breaking ferns in different biomes had pretty limited results and only dropped cabbages from cold biomes and soybeans from hot and humid biomes. Breaking dead bushes in different biomes had even less results, with only chickpeas being found in hot and dry biomes. And the same for sugarcane, which only dropped rice within hot and humid biomes. So my personal advice on collecting these new crops is to simply just bone meal some grass in different biomes. You'll get most of these new crops that way at least. And even if you can only get 1 drop of a crop, you can then always grow it and cultivate more from harvesting. Alongside all the new crop and food items also comes a pretty extensive food rework to the mod. Meals served by your restaurant now have different colour-coded tiers to them, depending on the quality of the meal. There are 3 tiers, gold, silver and bronze, where gold tier meals are the best food items available for your citizens. Gold tier meals are usually more complicated to make, requiring a few different ingredients, but are very good at saturating hunger. All gold tier meals are MineColonies specific food items. Silver tier meals are simpler to craft, requiring fewer ingredients and have a decent saturating effect. All silver tier meals are MineColonies specific food items. Bronze tier meals are mainly vanilla food items, as well as a mixture of low saturating MineColonies food items. Essentially, from this rework, MineColonies food items are now king, and your citizens will always prefer to have those rather than any other type of food item. Even if they are less saturating than vanilla or other modded food, your idiots will still prefer the MineColonies ones over them. On top of these tiers, your citizens will now only eat certain meals based upon their own residence level. If we take bread as an example, you can see that citizens will only eat this food item up to a residence level of 4. Once upgraded to level 5, they will turn their noses up to bread and would prefer to starve instead, rather than eat some measly level 4 peasant bread. And I for one would gladly watch them do it. Entitled little sh**. The restaurant's interface has been made much simpler now that the cookery is its own separate build. The restaurant is essentially just a glorified dining hall for your citizens, and the head chef demoted to a waiter, serving the masses. No food item is actually cooked in the restaurant now, so the smelting and crafting recipes tabs have been removed from the interface. Although you will still need to select a fuel for them to use in order for them to serve any meals, which is a bit odd. Maybe the fuel is used for a hot plate to keep the meals warm? You will need to make use of the minimum stock tab within the restaurant's interface and specify different food items that you wish the cookery to make and have have sent over. The food items you choose to stock will depend on which food items you choose to have the restaurant serve. You can toggle different food items on or off within the food tab if you wish to serve specific meals or not. Once constructed, the cookery will come equipped with several recipes already taught to it, which recipes can be found within the Crafting Recipes tab. I found at level 1, the cookery knew how to make 21 recipes out of the 10 available recipe slots within their Crafting Recipes tab. So in order to teach the cookery more food recipes, I had to first level the building up to level 3 so that it gained more recipe slots. You will need to specify a fuel to use within the fuel tab of the cookery's interface before the chef can begin preparing any meal. You will also need to teach the cookery how to turn raw ingredients into cooked ingredients by teaching the different recipes within the Smelting Recipes tab. And that, I think, about covers it. This is quite a big update to the MineColonies mod, which at the time of recording, I believe is only available in beta versions of 1.20.1 MineColonies. So make sure to update to the beta version if you wish to check out the new cookery build and all of the new crops, meals and other changes added. As always, thanks for watching, and why not help this guy out by liking this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to the channel for more MineColonies content. Speaking of which, why not go check out our new tropical style playthrough next if you haven't already. It's an absolutely beautiful style which you're sure to love. Anyway, till next time.